Hey guys, Tbull here. Today we got to look at the new Tier 7 British Heavy Cruiser, the Albemarle, as they say in the UK. I'm going to just go with Marley, even though my friends from the UK assure me that that's how it's pronounced, Albemarle. But we'll go with Marley on this channel. Note the armor view there. Now the nose armor, the only battleships we can bounce at Tier 7 is the only one we can bounce is the Odin. Now what I didn't show there, I should have put another frame in there. But the Citadel, if you're looking at it dead on, looking at straight at the nose, you take the nose armor off, so you're just looking at the Citadel armor. It's a two-stepped Citadel behind it, and they're flat surfaces behind the nose cone. So basically, at Tier 7, any battleship but the Odin, if I'm pointing my nose at them, they can punch through that armor, and when they do so, those shells are going to be encountering flat surfaces in the Citadel. That's a recipe for disaster. So, Marley, I've seen some people advocating, the kiting, flowing type of strategy with this line. If that's how you want to run it, that's your choice. But usually, I like to run that style of play with cruisers that have a little bit of durability to them. These ones really not so much. So my recommendation: try and utilize island cover as much as possible. Try and not get shot first and foremost. If you get flushed and you got to dodge and bob and weave, then yeah, at that point in time, the mobility might help. But mobility, when we're talking about commander builds, we're talking about rudder shift and speed. And the main mobility problem with these ones is the start and stop. We're going to see that numerous times through this game. Starting, stopping, really slow. You glide through where you think you'd like to stop, and that can get you in trouble. And then when you want to back up, well, you're still going to be slowly gliding, and it's a drawn out process. So it's the same thing with the British light cruisers. You got to be cognizant of the fact that the starting and stopping ability of these ships is somewhat lacking, and that to me is the biggest problem with the mobility. And turning steering gears, turning ability, and even speed, that's really not going to affect that. The speed may even drag out the start and stop process even more. Anyway, here we are. We've spawned south of B, so of course we're responsible for B. We always play the cap that we spawn by in domination mode, of course, since we're trying to win the game. And we got a destroyer that spawned here, and he's moving into B, so that's really nice. We're going to have some plays to make over here. This map, you can always make a case for abandoning B and covering the flanks. That play works if both teams do that, but if one gets the cap for free, then it's kind of a disaster usually. So you're going to have to investigate what the enemy team is going to be doing in the center, and if they're going to abandon it, well, then my recommendation is go ahead and take it. But if you're inclined to go support a flank, that's also viable. Anyway, here's a situation where, we're kind of going to get stuck here. We're getting plain spotted. We're being targeted by the Iowa, and we need to be getting out of here. But starting and stopping, trying to slam on the brakes here, utilize this cover, and maybe dodge those shots. Not the easiest in this line. That's not the worst instance of that we'll see this game. But luckily the Iowa, for some reason, he had HE loaded, and I think he's going to shoot 2 or 3 HE salvos at us throughout this game. So probably a new player there, but definitely the wrong shell selection. Iowa, I think I shot maybe 2 HE salvos in all the times I've played that ship, so I would not recommend ever loading that shell personally. At least until you really have a firm grasp on your shell selection. Akatsuki pops through here now. We got the Orkin in there. He's captured B already. Akatsuki, I think, being kind of aggressive. I'm not sure what his game plan was. Evidently doesn't have a smoke or doesn't know that it would be a good time to use it. But we're going to chime in here, try and disable him. You see the engine, the torps. We want to damage this guy. We want to take him down, of course. And there goes the engine again. So damage con negated. It would be ideal if we can kill him here. And this would be a good time to go ahead and pop the radar. I'm looking at the consumables on the bottom, maybe missing an opportunity there, but I don't think anyone for sure had a clear shot at him, at least not that was paying attention. So I think that's probably why I didn't use it in that instance. Fantastic over there, though. He was aggressive. He's trying to torp the Fletcher, who's just sitting there, and he actually, well, he got him with the guns. I don't know if he's trying to torp him or not, but aggressive play, took out our destroyer, almost paid for a hit with his own ship as well. And that's because, again, he had cruiser support, our Fletcher, so the Fletcher should have been primarily shooting at him, and then if he gets nice cruiser support like he had from the Albemarle, those are fights you should win. So you saw the Akatsuki in the middle. He kind of had that 2-on-1 against the Orkin and me, and that didn't work out for him. same thing over here, but the difference was the Orkan was shooting the Akatsuki, the Fletcher. At least I didn't see it. It didn't seem to me like he was shooting as much. Fantas coming back around again. Now, I'm not 100% sure what the thinking is there, unless he's getting sick of this game, but that's going to cost him his ship. And now, you know, basically the play I've been trying to set up is get these torps off of the Ganais now. But you can see here, I've had it in full reverse for a little while here, and we're still kind of inching forward. So this is when you start to get nervous and be like, oh, God. Because I wanted to launch the torps and then immediately back up. A lot of cruisers you can make that play relatively safely, but this one and some of the Brits, you know, it's not necessarily advisable in all situations. So anyway, we got the torps off. He recognizes that there's probably a torp strike incoming, or he slams on the brakes for whatever reason. A couple of AP salvos in there. Now you can see on the map he's fairly angled against us. Still getting some pretty decent results though. And this ship, the fire chance is outstanding for the, you know, the 22% fire chance, and your reload is 11 seconds. So the only two ships, cruisers at this tier that have a better fire chance, Siegfried and Azuma, but those guys have double the reload plus. So, you know, you usually want to be shooting the HE in this thing, but when you get close range, think within, you know, 8-10 kilometers, and things are mostly broadside, at least start playing around with it. Fire off a salvo or two. See what the results are, because when you start scoring some shots, this AP is pretty nasty. I think this ship is pretty nice in terms of balance between the AP and HE utility. Both of them are really nice. Anyway, Gneisenau is pushing forward now. He's had enough of my antics, and we're going to try and get the heck out of here. We're assuming we're going to die at this point in time, basically. So we wanted to flip around, get that last torp off here, hoping that, you know, once he kills us, he's just going to kind of forget about the fact that we were over here, start thinking, what should I do next, and then eat the torps. So, you know, we're still trying to do as much damage as possible here. And it doesn't really matter. You know, again, we can't angle at this thing. So maybe some of these HE or the secondary shells coming in, they'd be a little bit less effective if we're angled. But on the whole, you know, we're just kind of trying to get as much damage off as possible. He's going to be dodging the torps once they finally pop up on the screen. But we do get him with one there, and he's got the flood going. And now down he goes. So clear out this side so far. We do have another Surrey on there and another cruiser coming in. Now, quickly, I want you to check the game here. We got B early. Of course, we've controlled that. They've had C, and they got two more cruisers over here. But they've kind of... A was a stalemate for a long time, and then the guy... You can see that battleship going north, directly to the east of A. He was covering that side, but he just kind of didn't want to be over there anymore for whatever reason. And then he concedes the cap. So... my philosophy, we were talking about that just a minute ago, if you spawn on a cap, you're responsible for it. Doesn't mean you gotta die, you know, if you're getting outnumbered 3-1 over there or something, but you're still kind of responsible. You want to continue to spot that cap, shoot into it, prevent them from capping it as long as possible, slow them down, do some damage, disrupt their plans. But by just kind of bailing out of there and then kind of curiously going north, well, now he's going to put himself in between the two ships to the north, and then those guys that just captured A are going to come up right behind him and cause a lot of problems for him. So, unfortunately, we concede A, again, for probably not really any good reason. Yes, we were losing the flank, but just continue sailing south and see what you can do to slow down what's going on over there. So, given what's going on now, they got A, they're for sure going to get B unless we get over there quickly. That's informing my play over here. We got to get moving. We got to get everything moving. You know, there's no time to waste. So I'm pushing in here. Marley is not a ship I usually would want to be pushing into ships aggressively. Now, these are cruisers. We can angle against the cruisers as long as we're being careful. But, you know, ideally, like a battleship kind of taking the lead over here. So we got one battleship coming behind us. If I'm that battleship, I'm probably reading the game. I'm probably going back to support B. So, you know, watching this back here, recognizing that the battleship's coming behind me, I should probably go back to defend B. I think that's my main mistake this game in terms of what I'm doing. Maybe you guys are seeing something else I'm missing. But, again, my thinking is get over here. We got to clear this cap. We got to get the cap. We got to get these guys off of here as quickly as possible. And usually your teammates are not going to have the giddy up in their step, you know, when it comes to making these quick time decisions. So Usually you kind of have to take the lead once you start to recognize what's going on. Anyway, Surrey, we've driven him off the cap. Now he kind of over angles a little bit. Now we're going to start whacking him with the AP. That's what we're talking about. He's at about a 45-degree angle there. He turns back a little bit, and he got some bounces on that second follow-up salvo. But the one where he kind of over-angled into that chance to bounce territory, whacked him pretty hard, and contributed him to get him off the base. So we're going to capture C here, of course, but look at what's going on. The only guy that can cover B is the ship that's been going north for some reason. I don't know what he thinks is up there. But, you know, that's kind of not to blame any player for the loss, and who cares at the end of the day. It's just another loss out of the thousands of losses that I've had. But, you know, I kind of think what that battleship's doing is the reason that this game will likely conclude in Red's favor. But you can see there's plenty of time left in the video. That means there's more plays to be made. Now, we're recognizing, okay, defending B is the only way we're going to win this game. So we definitely cannot let them get on B. We're going north as quick as possible, or northwest, just hugging the island. Want to get there, try and reset him. He is, this Iowa, this is the one that shot us with HE earlier. He's getting spotted by the guy that's to the north. So that's the good thing that the guy's doing. But the Iowa to the north showed him broadside, got whacked. He lost about 40% of his health or something. So he's not going to be there very long. Now the Orkin, he's going back south. I think he's going to primarily be focused on spotting. I don't have a problem with that. But, you know, I think taking the play one level a little bit higher, he's got to figure out how to get caps. So spotting, very strong in this situation, especially from my perspective, because I'm going to want to be taking shots as protected as possible, utilizing the island. And again, we're squirting through here. Note, I was hoping to not be spotted here, but we're having some trouble. So once that happens, you just got to gun it and start moving. You can't sit here and let an Iowa blast you. But anyway, getting back to the Orkin, you can see he's spotting all the ships. A+ for that. That's very strong. But these games, you got to be looking at the scoreboard saying, okay, what's happening here? What's likely going to be the outcome? And winning on score is a very high probability play here. You know, it removes our ability to comfortably win this game. We're going to have to kill everyone, which is going to be very tough because we got one battleship, one cruiser, and one destroyer. They got a lot of weight. So we're not likely to kill them all, but I'd be thinking about the caps. And then the battleship, you know, I think it's Colorado coming up here. Again, this is why I would prefer the battleship to go cover C, or I'm sorry, cover B initially, because it's taken him, you know, about 5 minutes to get back over here in position. He's going to be in such a hurry to get over here. He's going to basically come around broadside and get blasted and killed very quickly. So not a lot coming together for me in this game here. And there's some games where, you know, I look at my play and I'm thinking, well, man, if I would have done this, this, and this, and this differently, we definitely could have won the game. You know, even games where you like think you did pretty well, there's always things to improve. And again, I think maybe recognizing that the Colorado was coming over here anyways was my big mistake here. I should have just gone back and covered B. And you can see here is that Colorado's just completely rocked at this point in time, and we really don't have any chance. The Orkin, even if he wants to push in there and start torping, they do have the cruiser over there. I forgot what cruiser it is, but I believe it had a radar on there if I remember correctly, which is preventing the Orkin from making any sort of plays. So the Reds positioning much, much better this game. They kind of they capitalized on a stalemate at A that was abandoned by the B, pushed through there, pushed into B, and then, you know, are positioned together properly where they're supporting each other. They know where the destroyer is. The cruiser is positioned to prevent the destroyer from killing the battleships, and they've killed our only battleship. They're going to kill me as soon as they spot me and shoot at me for 30 seconds to a minute. You know, it's not going to take very long to kill the Marley for an Iowa. So not a lot we can do here, but I did want to point this game out to you, number one, because I thought there was a lot, or go over this game with you guys, because number one, I did think there was a lot of learning opportunities on all sides of the ball, but also high damage. I think this, like I said earlier, I think this is the highest damage I've squeezed out of it so far. And pretty good look at the AP, HE, and even some of the torps. So that's what we're talking about there. That's a well-angled Marley. Cannot possibly withstand the Iowa. You can just punch through whatever. I mean, if he's hitting the sides armor, you know, no, he'll bounce those shots even from this angle. But anything else, superstructure, back, you know, no real way to protect yourself. So a moment ago we rammed the island. What I should be doing here is looking on the map. I recognize the chop I have coming around here. That's what it is. The chop I have. I recognize them, but I'm assuming I'm dying here, which I definitely am. But I was just trying to do a little bit more damage to the Iowa. Should have focused on this guy, because if I had torps down, that would have been great. But I could have had the guns ready with the AP. I could have potentially killed him. Not enough time really left on the clock to turn this one around, but you never know. It definitely would have been a better play, but now the Orkan has no play left, and the torps that I kind of just threw out there hoping to hit him, he slams on the brakes and he misses them. So that'll do it for that one, guys. But the Marley itself, I actually do like the ship quite a bit. I just think it's a little bit difficult from a mobility standpoint, a maneuvering standpoint. But other than that, pretty strong. Nice offensive platform. Again, kind of a fire-starting menace, so if you see one of these on the enemy team, just go ahead and get rid of it, because you should be able to kill it pretty readily, assuming you can spot it, and if you leave it alone, it's going to cause problems. You can pump out some high-damage games in this one, for sure. So, anyway, that'll do it for this one, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy it. If you did, please hit the thumbs up. New to the channel, consider subscribing. Lots of World of Warships coming all the time. Questions, comments, leave below. Love to hear from you, and we'll see y'all later. Peace.